Hello, Fearless Gamers, and welcome to another podcast here on Fearless Games. I'm Matt the Vet, and today I am joined by...
James the Wildcard.
How's it going?
Not bad. I saw a movie the other day.
Uh-oh. What was it? Was it Box Trolls?
No.
Oh. Now I don't care.
It was Untold.
So how could you see it if it was Untold?
Well, because I could see it. I just couldn't hear it.
Oh, so you didn't have any audio.
It was one of them silent pictures.
Yeah. With no text, because then it would be told. If
exactly.
It had text.
You can't have it told. It's all inferred, you know, and you gotta take it in context or out of context, depending upon your preference. But but I saw, Dracula Untold.
Uh-huh.
I enjoyed it.
I've been interested to see that film.
Yeah, I mean, I had to see it because I was really curious on what they were going to do with it. And, you know, not spoiling anything, but if anybody is going in expecting Bram Stoker's Dracula, why? Clearly it's not that. So if you go in expecting that, you're going to disappoint yourself.
From my understanding, it's the story that happens of him during the Great Crusade and him turning into Dracula?
Essentially, it's basically the story of how he becomes Dracula. And,
okay.
Which is cool. And the one thing I will say, speaking of Bram Stoker's Dracula, though, is in the good Dracula films, Bram Stoker's, and I'll say this one, but the thing that I take away from the films is the outfits that Dracula wears. And they don't disappoint here either. So, like, you've seen Bram Stoker's, right?
Yep.
He has some awesome outfits in that movie.
He does.
And this movie is no exception to that. So I think part of the success for a good Dracula movie is really nice outfits for Dracula. But it was good. It was definitely a different take. I could see some purists maybe not liking it. But if you're a Dracula purist, that's weird because it's, you know...
Dracula.
But no, it was good. No, it was good, and it wasn't 3.5 hours long. I think it's a 90-minute movie, to be honest.
That's good.
And that's refreshing, because I'm not saying that they couldn't have told the story in more time. Clearly they could have. But when a movie can get its point across at that sweet spot of 90 minutes or so, it's always nice. Yeah. Because, I mean, like, Guardians was over 2 hours, right?
Yes, it was, I think, 2 hours and 30 minutes.
And I'm not saying the movie dragged at any point in time, because it really didn't. But
it's very tough to make a film that long not drag.
Exactly. I'm not saying it was like a drag at any point, but I'm not saying the movie necessarily felt it, but through the whole movie, it's like, wow, I'm taking a lot of info because it's long. You know, it's like you're just getting a lot of stuff, which is not a bad thing. The movie did a very good job, but you felt it felt overall like it was a longer movie. And this movie really was like a snack, you know, because it was so tiny in terms of comparison. So,
interesting.
So that was good. And when I went to see it, because some other movie came out on the same weekend, and I was like, this is a lot of people in this theater, and thankfully it was split between the two, because I've never seen this theater that with that many people in it before. So I'm like, don't tell me everybody's going to see Dracula. The one movie I would think that not many people will go see an opening weekend here in North Carolina.
But they did.
But no, it had a good showing of people watching it. And there was one couple behind me, you know, like when the movie was getting started, like he asked the chick, like, so you like horror movies? She's like, well, I like vampire movies. And I'm like, I want to try and go, this wasn't really billed as a horror. So it's like, this wasn't really, I didn't though, but clearly the movie wasn't billed as a horror movie. And then, like, the movie starting, and then I couldn't hear what he said, but she says, no, I've never seen this before. And again, I want to turn and be like, opening weekend, dude. Opening weekend. But why would you ask if she's seen this before?
Because he must know.
But you know, so that was good. That was a good time. I recommend it to anybody who's curious about the film.
Now, speaking of films, a bit of a I guess you could say a bit of a bomb was dropped at like Comic-Con. and people seem to be raging over it, is that there's going to be a Ghostbusters 3.
I heard about this.
It's going to be all women, and everyone is pissed that it's all women.
That's weird. I will say this, though.
It's very weird.
I will say this about the all-woman cast, and it could be another all-men cast, doesn't matter. Some serious shoes to fill.
Yes.
So.
To be perfectly honest, I'm going to be perfectly honest here. I could care less. Well, I couldn't care less about there being a third Ghostbusters film because I'm going off the impression of it's been 25 years. The original cast seemed to have no drive to do it, and this has happened before with another franchise, and look how well that turned out.
Right,
and other thing, why can't women be Ghostbusters? And it's the funny thing is I've some people I know who are angry, like, I don't mind if it's all women, but it shouldn't be all women. Like, so you do mind that it's all women.
That's dumb. I don't mind it being all women. I'm not, and I had nothing against women actresses, but there are some you have to pick the right, because there are some women actresses who are just sex appeal actresses. Now, I don't say just, but they're known and typecasted for that. And the thing about Ghostbusters, you wouldn't want that being sold as a sexy movie.
Yes, I believe one of the cast members is Melissa McConaughey, that girl from Mike and Molly, I believe it is.
Sure.
She's supposedly in it, and everyone's pissed about that.
You're not gonna. This is a franchise that no matter what they did, people were gonna be pissed because look at the cast that was in it. I mean, just Bill Murray alone not being in it is gonna piss off everybody.
Yep.
So.
And they've announced that it's not a sequel.
Oh, it's probably it's probably a relaunch of the entire thing.
It's really weird. Like, they're describing it in such a way where it's not a sequel, it's not a reboot, it's just a film that it seems to be, like, from what I've been reading now, I've only been reading bits and pieces because that's all I can... I've only been getting articles just focusing on the fact that it's all women, and they're kind of, like, brushing aside the other facts. But from my understanding, it's just... I guess you could say it's a film that just happens to be the same name as an older movie, but it's technically has nothing to do via remake, reboot, or continuation of an older film.
Oh, see that right there is a problem. Not for me personally, but it's going to be a problem for that film's success. Because if you're just going, oh, isn't this such a coinkydink? It has the same name and kind of idea, is going to hurt it, on top of the fact that people are already going to be super judgmental because it's not the original cast.
Yes. And then I had one friend who was like, it's stealing, because it's all women, it's stealing it from the fan base who loved it. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure there was some girls that liked Ghostbusters.
Yeah. See, anybody who's complaining about it being an all-female cast, they're being dumb. But the only validity in that female cast argument is, again... Is it going to be all sexy and... Yeah, if it's all pure sex appeal like that...
Feminism.
Like that one movie was, what was it, when they're all like the psych ward or whatever?
I didn't see it. Sucker Punch.
Yeah, if it's going to go for the sex appeal like Sucker Punch, then it's going to be terrible. And that's bad. But if they're actually going to try and do it well, like have actresses who are who are more than just sex appeal, they actually can act and do very good things, then it should be just fine. As far as casting goes, it's still like, how do you top the original cast?
Yes, one of our friends made a very valid point. The first two were lightning in a bottle. You know, it's going to be really hard to recreate that phenomena.
It is.
In a sense. And even if it's all men, all women, a mixture, no matter what you have, it's going to be tough to make anything relatively good as the original.
Oh, it's going to be
something that's
it's going to be a near impossible task. And also you got to look at it, when was the original made? It's a completely different era.
30 years.
Yeah. It was a completely different era. Part of that film's mystique is when you look at how, just look at the fact that when it was made, part of that mystique is, no, not really digital.
Yeah.
They could smoke in it. Like part of that stuff, like it feels aged, but it feels like, to me, it feels like an aged film when you watch it, but it feels pure. Like it's a different era of filming.
This film was very much like Star Wars in the sense, like, it was so good they re-released it in theaters a few years later. Like, because I was only one when the first film came out originally, and I remember seeing it in theaters when I was, like, 5. So, it clearly was re-released in theaters at one point.
Yeah, and also I don't know what the title is going to be for this third.
It's just calling it Ghostbusters 3 right now.
Okay, but
everyone's referring to it as.
Let's say it's just Ghostbusters, right? Like, the whole premise, the whole thing about it, too, is we have the success of the original. Yeah. And we have it, I don't want to say wholly unique of a movie, because I don't know the entire history of film for that. But we have basically a fresh concept of the time. So now we have a reboot, but not a sequel, but coinkydink, and same concept and different. It's just there's nothing. I don't want to say there's something redeeming for it, because that's going to sound really harsh, but unless they're bringing some interesting new quirk or element to the movie, it's going to be such an uphill battle, because you can't even say, well, it's original, because it's not. At least you can say Ghostbusters was original.
It's a lot of people are. The big thing is one, to be perfectly honest, once Paul Feig, the guy who did Bridesmaids and The Heat, was announced to be the director, what were you expecting? I mean, again, everyone's like, it's just a gimmick that he uses, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, so is Snow in the beginning of every Tim Burton film. That doesn't change the fact that it's his creative choice.
Yeah.
And it's what he likes, it's what he likes.
Yeah, I think...
Now, casting speculations can heat up, no pun intended, in addition to writing the heat... Yeah, there's a bunch of people that are supposedly might be in the film. And Melissa McCarthy is one of the front runners who might be.
I like to see Lucy Liu.
There. Lucy Liu, she was the only one of the 3 Charlie's Angels that I could tolerate.
I think she could do a good role in a Ghostbusters film. Because I think I don't know, I just think she could do a good job at that.
Yeah. Let's see. Bill Murray wants to see these actresses in Ghostbusters 3. Let's see. In the past, Bill Murray been very vocal. His complete disinterest in reprising his role as Peter Venkman in Paul Feig's upcoming Ghostbusters 3. Another thing, just note, Paul Feig has said if any of the original cast members want to come back for a cameo, they are more than welcome to. Just give them a call. But his attitude regarding the project as a whole seems to be softened in recent days. Asked about the reports of an all-female cast in the video, the actor gave a blessing of sorts to the project, saying, "It's a grand idea. I don't know who they're talking about, but it's a good idea. Obviously, it doesn't sound like he has any kind of an inside track of the production, but doesn't mean it's still..." So Bill Murray doesn't seem to care if it's all women, but his pick of people for it is Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig. She was in Bridesmaids.
Okay.
Linda Cardellini,
Sure.
Cardellini. She is from Freaks and Geeks.
No, I didn't see it.
And Emma Stone.
Okay. I can see that one for sure.
I can't remember what I've seen. Oh, she's one of the dudes from Zombieland. Right.
Who?
Emma Stone.
Well, yeah, but she did more than Zombieland.
But I'm trying to remember. Yeah, no. Yeah, she was in Zombieland.
I was saying more than...
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember. That was the only film I could remember her from. Like, I know she's been in other things. That's the only film right now I can think of.
The Amazing Spider-Man?
Who was she in Amazing Spider-Man?
Really? She was Gwen Stacy.
Right. See, this is the thing. I don't know many actresses' names. I don't know, like, the names of many actors, even.
Me either. I know Emma Stone's because of Zombieland, but the thing with her is that she her hair color...
She's a good actress.
Her hair color was really different in Amazing Spider-Man, and it does throw some people off.
And she looks very different. She looks like she has a more rounded face in Zombieland.
But yeah, I can see her doing that.
Yeah, no, she's so far the only person that I'm like, Melissa McCarthy. The biggest issue with hers is that it's very much the Will Ferrell issue. You've only see her playing one role, so we don't know what her range fully can be.
Yeah, but I mean, the end result is this. If you're upset about it being an all-female cast, you should be ashamed of yourself, because it doesn't mean it can't be good. I mean,
yes.
The problem, the underlying problem is that we're taking a classic and it's getting essentially redone. I mean, what reboot or not, it's basically you're taking a classic and you're trying to make a movie in such a huge shadow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's good luck.
Yes. As with usual, good example, even, just to bring this up, some of us expressed a lot of hatred towards the new Turtles movie, but at the very least, we all waited for a trailer before we passed judgment. And same with this, I'm going to wait for a trailer before I decide if I'm not going to see this film or not.
Yeah. I still have yet to see the Turtles movie because I don't know if it came out in the theater by me or not.
I decided personally not to. From what I heard, for every good thing that was in it, like, holy crap, this is awesome, this is what Turtles is supposed to be, there was one equal or greater thing that was like a, what?
Yeah, I look at it as this is not my Turtles. You know what I mean?
It's definitely not.
So I look at it as that, and I don't have a problem. But, that's the thing about this Ghostbusters. This is not our Ghostbusters. This is going to be a new generation's take on Ghostbusters, which is fine for me, but it's just that's such a big shoe. That's such a big shoe to fill. I mean, the original the Turtles movie also had big shoes to fill because the original live action Turtles were really good. But I'm going to say that's less of a huge classic, blockbuster as Ghostbusters.
It wasn't as big a blockbuster, no. Like, people go back and go, that is awesome, and that's the end of it, but when you talk about Ghostbusters, that's like a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, there's basically, Ghostbusters is like Star Wars. You have groups who basically cosplay it, and they have their own, they have the car, well, not so much the car, but the best they can do on the car. Sometimes it's just a Subaru wagon as opposed to being what it's supposed to be. But the point is, you have groups doing that. Same thing as with Star Wars. So, and it's like a centralized club thing. That's that's the level of bigness we're talking about. That would be like if Disney said, we're not making Star Wars 7, we're rebooting Star Wars. That's the same level of what that people are experiencing now. So, with Ghostbusters. True. But luckily they're not doing that. They're just moving on, which is fine. Yeah. But if they went, you know what, we're making episode 4 all over again, complete reboot, complete new cast, people will go, what? And probably storm Disney. But,
you'd see Mickeys with Mickey heads on pikes.
You would. But and I'm not going to say Ghostbusters is on the same level of Star Wars as bigness that way, but it's still very big. I mean, Star Wars is a phenomenon. And Ghostbusters is right there as a phenomenon, but on a different level, like on a bit of a lower level. But at the same time, that's why I think people are freaking out. I mean, it's almost the same freak out we hear every time a new Batman is announced.
Yes, which, again, same dealio. Everyone who's asked me, what do you think about the new Batman? I was like, once I see him acting, I can tell you.
I think the new Batfleck is going to be great.
It's going to be interesting, though
I think he'll do fine. I think the movie is going to be weird because you're introducing him against Superman.
And Wonder Woman and Aquaman and I was like, wait a minute. At first it turned into a Superman sequel, then it turned into Batman vs. Superman, then it turned into the Justice League vs. Superman. And you're just like, wait, stop. Who's the villain? What film franchise is this? Because next thing you know, they're going to be like introducing Lex Luthor and Darkseid, and wait a minute. You're introducing multiple villains, none of which were all part of the Legion of Doom. So who's the villain?
Yeah. But yeah, no. So
and they're going to make Darkseid Eminem with the same backstory.
Oh, of course. But
he's like, I came to this Earth for a dream. What? To have a dream of Omega Beam laser eyes.
Yes.
And then he's going to break into rap.
Of course. But I mean, every time, because Batman's just, Batman, the name and just what it is so classic. Every time there's a new actor to play Batman, people are always in an uproar. I mean,
yes.
This is just on a grander scale because it's Ghostbusters, and it's been a lot longer since between Ghostbusters than it has between Batmans.
And personally, though, and I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but I personally think that Michael Keaton was the best Batman so far.
I like Michael Keaton.
I thought he was by far. I thought he was one of the best.
I mean, the thing about Batman, and I mean, it's gonna sound weird, is that the actor is playing. Well, it's not gonna sound weird. He's playing two roles. You got him Batman, and then you got Bruce Wayne. And you know, it depends on. Some actors did better as Bruce Wayne than Batman. Yeah. And the thing is, with Batman, though, you got to look at Keaton was the original. Not original, but you get my point. He was the first live. Well, he was the first Batman. Film. Yep. He was the first theatrical Batman because Adam West was only on TV. Yeah. He was 1989 Batman. So we have to understand costuming capability back in the day, fight scripting back in the day because of costume restraints and all that, and just what people were expecting out of Batman. You know, MMA wasn't really a thing at all then, so you can't, that obviously influenced a bit of how Batman fought with Nolan's Batman. But I really enjoy Michael Keaton as Batman. Some people, I think Nolan's Batman, who's that? I'm blanking on the Batman actor's name. Christian Bale? Yes, Christian Bale. I think he did a good Bruce Wayne. I think he did. I'm not saying he did a bad Batman, but I think he did a really Bruce Wayne was a lot better. I think his Bruce Wayne was fantastic. Yeah. And it sounds so weird talking about that because it's the same person, but at the same time they're so separate. So the trick is, like, one person mentioned it once, and I can very much agree. The trick behind playing Batman is when you're playing Batman and when you're playing Bruce Wayne, you have to convey that they can't possibly be the same person. Right. So, like that's one of the reasons why I like Michael Keaton. When you watch Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne, and then you watch Michael Keaton as Batman, you're kind of going, I don't think that's the same guy. Oh, yeah, no, it's very different when he's in Bruce Wayne mode or Batman mode. Yeah. I just feel his Bruce Wayne mode, while good, I think Bale's Bruce Wayne mode was on a higher plane. It was very good, but again, that trick was just like, there are some parts where you're just sitting there going, I kind of think that's Bruce Wayne. Oh, yeah, of course. But Keaton did great. Look, the people who make the Batman movies are going to pick good people to be Batman. Like, yeah. That's just... I don't know. Was this George Clooney? It wasn't bad. Oh, no, he wasn't Val Kilmer. Oh, you mean the guy you're talking about wasn't bad. It's just that he came right after... Val Kilmer. Yeah. So... Val Kilmer was pretty bad. It wasn't... It's still... He did fine. I say the problem with him was that he had no real understanding of how to separate Bruce Wayne and Batman. Pretty much. At all. But I mean, again, also the issue with George Clooney was it's very hard for George Clooney to hide George Clooney. It is. I mean, that would be like having Morgan Freeman play a superhero. Yes. You can't do that. My name is Superman. Hello, I am Clark Kent. Are you Superman? No, just because I have the same soothing, velvety voice does not mean I am Superman. Or like George Takei, he was on, I forget which talk show he was on, but he was talking about how, he wouldn't mind having some type of walk-on role in the next Star Trek.
Star Trek.
And he said, I would love to be an alien, but it wouldn't work because of my voice.
Oh my!
But
who's that dashing officer over there?
Basically, but it's the same thing with Clooney and Morgan Freeman. There's certain roles you just can't. Put them in. You can't put them in for certain reasons.
There are certain things and certain reasons we do not need to explain why.
Exactly. Oh my! But
oh my! Speaking of that, you heard that supposedly William Shatner will be taking up the role as Kirk in the next Star Trek.
William
Supposedly, future Kirk and future Spock will make a cameo.
Listen. Shatner needs the money. So.
I am sorry, but who is that handsome gentleman?
But
2 women. Oh, kid, trust me, you will get better.
Yeah, he needs the money, and he's a bit of a jerk. So this is the only way he's going to get the money. So he really is a bit of a jerk.
He is. I've heard stories. To be honest, I am fully aware of how much of a jerk Shatner is. That still doesn't change my opinion that I like Kirk better than Picard.
No, that's fine. Just the actor. He's such a.
Oh, he is. And to be perfectly honest, Tim Allen played a great representation of that in Galaxy Quest.
Yes, he did.
It was just that, so is what everyone thought Kirk was like.
Yes. But, I have nothing against Shatner. I don't hate Shatner, but he's a jerk. My favorite...
He is a jerk.
When you refuse to to autograph a poster or whatever else autograph that's going to be donated, auction off for charity...
Because he wasn't getting paid.
Yeah, and you must have Patrick Stewart force him to sign it. That makes you a bit of a jerk.
Yes.
When Patrick Stewart yells, "Shatner, come over here and sign this."
Yep. But it also has something to say when he did it after he said it.
He did, because at that point, what are you going to do? Everybody's eyes are now on you.
You're like, oh, Patrick Stewart is mad at me. I better go sign.
Patrick Stewart's fantastic.
As a dude, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Him and Sir Ian McKellen.
Yes,
they're both fantastic. They have the old man friendship that when I become an old man, I want to have with somebody. I really do.
Yes, they're definitely people where you want to sit there and go, you know what? I want to be seen like them, that type of awesome dude.
Yeah, it's true. It's just when I hopefully reach that age one day, I want to be something like that.
I'd also like to have his ability to not seem to age,
right?
Because I'm sorry, Patrick Stewart doesn't look I was watching this video where they count the sins of a movie, the continuity errors, the plot holes, and all that. And they showed Patrick Stewart, and it was clearly CG'd. He's CGing Patrick Stewart, even though there's no need because he hasn't changed in the last 30 years.
I mean, part of it is he's not very wrinkly as an old person.
Yeah.
So makeup is easier. You can do makeup and hide his aging, if you will, a lot easier. Yeah. But, it's true, though. Part of the fact is he lost his hair when he was 19. So he's had that face since he was 19. Essentially, but
pretty much.
But it really is he ages very well. Plus makeup can hide it very well for when he's in a role. But when he's outside of a role and just on talk shows, he still looks pretty youthful for his age. Same thing with George Takei. He is clearly he's aged, but he looks so young still.
Yes, comparatively, he still looks like he does in the Star Trek movies.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. And it's just some of these people, now I get why Decay, Asian people tend to have youthful faces.
Yes.
That's, call me stereotyping, but I've met plenty of, you really...
Babyface people.
Yeah, plenty of babyface, people like that. But then it gets to a point, and then it look like they are more ancient than dirt.
That is also very true.
But... it goes, and then it just falls down. And it's just yep, but that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that the stuff I noticed. I would,
yep.
It would be great to be that age, period, reach that one day, period.
Yes. It's sort of interesting because, like, at work, I get a lot of people and I sit there going, like, oh, man, I remember back in the day when this was happening, and they're like, oh, please, you weren't even around for that. And I was like, yes, I was. And they go, what do you mean? I was like, how old do you think I am? And I usually get a good 10 years taken off my age.
Nice. I get that, too, especially once I shave. Like, every time I shave,
yeah.
I get that a lot.
Now, speaking, couple of things I want to discuss, for hobby-related. First one is not so much hobby-related in terms of the game, but apparently a political issue that happened with Warhammer. Recently, a senator from London was noted absent from a meeting about a vote. The story goes is that according to the senator, or not a counselor, not a senator, because this is London.
It's probably the same thing.
Pretty much the same thing. He left because he had to go to an appointment with his wife due to medical issues that she was having that he doesn't wish to discuss.
Yeah.
So they went. Things went done, and by the end of the meeting, by the end of the appointment, he went, oh, it's time to go back to the vote, but I missed the whole debate, so I can't really make a proper decision because I haven't heard both sides of the argument.
Yeah.
So he says, you know what, then me voting on it is not going to be really any good.
Mm-hmm.
They then later find him at a Games Workshop store playing Warhammer Fantasy, which he admits that he was there doing.
You know what? Here, all right. Everybody stop. Everybody stop. Stop the bike. Stop. Everybody stop. If that's the worst this counselor is doing that they caught him on, then he should get a gold medal for best politician ever. Because
seriously?
Because normally that story ends with they found him doing blow in the back of a bar or having an affair with somebody. That's usually how those stories end.
Doing blow off a hooker's rear end.
Yeah, usually it's something really, really bad that they find
I know,
doing.
But they're sitting there going, he's sitting in his own fantasy world, focusing on his next move, and I'm like, so?
And also, he makes a valid point in my mind. If there's something that there's a vote for, and I miss the entire info that I would use to base my vote on, why am I going to go vote? I'm not going to...
The best is there was a bunch of other counselors missing. And they were like, he won't tell us what his wife's problems were, so how do we know his wife had problems? And they go to these counselors and goes, counselor, or they go, well, why didn't he rearrange the appointment so he didn't have to miss the vote? There was 1,000,001 different things he could have done. And then there was other counselor who went, oh yeah, my wife had an appointment, I couldn't rearrange, I had to be there. They're like, oh, it was totally okay that he wasn't there.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, so the one said just because you found out what he did after his wife's appointment, it's not okay that he couldn't rearrange it.
Right. I mean, at that point, it's like this. To me, it's the equivalent of, hey, I'm gonna use. Now I don't know the way it works with counselors and whatnot in politics, but it's the equivalent of going, I have an appointment that I can't change, so I got to take off a day of work for.
Yep.
It's not going to take me all day to do this appointment, but I took off a day of work for it because it was just easier.
Yep.
And I could.
So
and whatever I do after that is me time. Who cares what happens?
It's like, I'm sure we've all done it. We've done, who here has had like an appointment and just took the whole day off?
I guarantee you.
Or like this guy here, who hasn't had an appointment and worked until the latest they could and then had to leave for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way it works. Like, I've had it where I had to leave early for something, and then I just took the rest of the day off because it's just going, A, I don't know how long the appointment's going to take. B, once I'm done with it, by the time I come back, there's only not going to be much for me to do anyway, so I just, you don't. And everybody's like, well, this is politics. Well, they're still people. And and I have to say this: if they don't believe that his wife had something they had to take him to, for shame. He doesn't have to tell you everything. Like, what if it's really? Like, what if it's something super serious, right?
Especially since everybody else who had like medical issues as a reason for leaving, they didn't care what those issues were, but they're caring about this guy because they found out what he did afterwards.
Right. I mean, he's not gonna actually summon a demon to the material plane, people. You can relax.
Like, again, those models were code for crack.
Yeah, right? It's not,
they weren't pushing little bags of crack going, how about this?
It's not like they took an 8-ball before playing or have black tar heroin. I mean, it's seriously.
The only thing that I'm really upset about, and I feel that we have a right to know, what army was he playing?
That is true. I am curious. I want to know what army he was playing.
They did not mention that at all at the article of what he was playing because their onlooker just saw him through a window. Didn't bother going in to see how he was doing. Did he win? Did he lose?
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna make a big stink about a counselor having, going off to Fantasyland to have a battle between armies, we need to know the circumstances and if he was winning or losing.
Yes, I want to know, is he running Nagash?
Yeah.
Because then that's the thing I want to know. Is he a Dirty Bretonian fan?
Yeah, we need to know.
To anyone who's a Bretonian fan, I apologize. I've never even played the game, so I don't know if they're dirty or not.
We need to know if he's a Dwarven player or not.
Yes. And if he does play Chaos, what god?
Exactly. This is crucial. Because
this is crucial. I need to know.
If he's a Chaos player and he's devoted to a particular god, then if I was a citizen of that country, that would affect my backing of him or not.
Yes, I need to know if our counselor is worshipping the god of plans and schemes.
Yes, or if he's excess, because then there might have been 8-balls involved if he was playing a Slanesh army.
Or pestilence, because, or war. If he was the war god, I don't think I'd trust that man in my seat.
Right, but
he wants skulls for the skull throne.
Yes, I mean, honestly, if the wife having a medical issue was a big cover-up so he can go play some tournament or game, that's terrible. That's sign of a problem. But I doubt it very much.
Very much
and if they're really worried about him playing a Warhammer game, if it was a crucial vote, they could have postponed the vote to have for 100% attendance or 90-something% attendance, right?
If I recall, they said 31. No, it had to be voted. It should have been voted by 31 or 33 members, and only 27 showed up.
Right. I mean, at that point, you should have postponed the vote.
You should have postponed it. Clearly, it wasn't that big of a deal if you went with the vote anyway.
Exactly.
But I just find that interesting. I was like, oh, so that made the news. Okay. GW sitting there going, sweet, now people know how awesome we are.
Well, now it makes it does kind of make that game official, right? When you have a political party member, some politician playing the game, clearly this isn't just for a bunch of sweaty, overweight nerds in a basement.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that to offend anybody. I'm part of that stereotype. But
yes, but that's how some people view us.
Exactly. So,
okay, that's when that happened. Alrighty.
So that I mean, this does add some clout to it. I mean, it's not like he was playing Warmahordes.
Yeah.
That's for a bunch of sweaty, weight overweight. No, I'm joking.
Oh.
But I mean, in all seriousness,
it's not the worst thing
that
they could have
here, it would have been he was doing blow off of a dead hooker's butt, and that's what it would have been found happening.
Yes, and this is how they're treating it.
Exactly.
And to be honest, I'm just going to say, London, if this is your biggest problem with your politicians, well, then screw you.
Exactly.
Because seriously, you have no problem.
Right? But yes.
You don't have senators putting GPSs on other senators' cars so they can slander them.
Right. But I mean, that we know of. I mean, this might just be the tip of your corrupted iceberg, but it's just funny.
If so, then it was a good day for you guys.
Yes. That's funny.
And speaking of that, we've got a new Primarch model that got premiered out.
Yes.
Carnad Cruz.
Conrad.
That's Conrad, right.
He's got a weird name. It's Conrad Kurz. Also, he's the Night Haunter. He's got the split personality.
He's Batman. He's pretty much their
Batman.
Batman.
40K's Batman, which means he's terrible.
Yes, very much so. Because I'm sorry, Batman is kind of horrible in the DC universe.
This is 40K Batman, which means he's not opposed to killing. In fact, killing is his first solution. So,
if you look on his model, there's a corpse hanging off his shoulder pad.
Right, he doesn't go where the drugs. He just kills the guy. I mean,
he kills the guy
everybody
and then goes,
until he finds where the drugs are.
He goes, I hope that was the guy dealing drugs.
Basically.
And his second in command, what's his name? Sevatar has also been announced, and they're both ballin' models. They're
doing a good... Forge World, no surprise here, is doing a very good job with their models.
Yes. I just want them to get to Prospero already.
Yeah. Night Haunter looks the part.
Yes. I do like the claws.
Yeah.
Because, I like how everyone was making these big, fat gauntlets with the lightning claws. I'm like, I kind of like that they're doing, the two-claw, Shredder thing with him.
Yeah, it makes it look a lot more brutal. Now, I will say, the one incarnation I thought was very cool was basically giving him slightly bigger gauntlets, but making the claws the fingertips.
The fingertips, yes.
Which was very cool. But I
do like that look.
Well, he looks very much, I'm in a street gang, I'm going to cut you up type of look, which is the look that he's supposed to have. So, the only
it's also very predatory.
It is. The one thing I will say that, unless this is not completely finished, a lot of people have always depicted him with a backpack, like a jump pack. Now,
you can't see it in this picture. Yes.
Yeah. Whether he has one or not, I would prefer not, because then it makes him more different than Korax, who also has lightning claws.
For all we know, he may just have a very small backpack.
Right, but I'm talking about a jump pack,
Oh, he has a jump... Oh, I didn't know he had a jump pack.
No, a lot of people depicted him as such before we had any real stuff. A lot of people would, convert him up or draw him with a backpack because he's got, bat wings, fly around, very scary.
Right, because of the whole, because then isn't, Raptors their big thing?
Yeah, they were,
That's
basically
why.
made the Raptors. Now, if you give me a hot second...
Okay.
I'm going to pull up his entry. To see if it says anything about what he.
Oh, right, because you have the book with him in it.
Yes. Where are you, my scary guys? Here you are. Conrad Kurz. He is a jump infantry, so it'll be interesting to see what they give him. He is jump infantry. That's the one thing when I looked at a model, I didn't really see anything. Maybe it's not done yet.
Yeah. Either that, or they might be that might be one of his alt versions. They may give him, give him a cape or give him a jump pack.
Maybe. I mean, that would be interesting. And Sevatar looks pretty good. They're doing a good job. They are, and I knew we were going to see Night Haunter next, because he's the only one of the Book 2's legions that really that wasn't finished.
Yes.
From Forge World. So that's all he needed to do was to finish up that
and
legion.
we got 2 new Space Marine flyers on the way, a new Dreadnought, a Solaris Auxilia Stormhammer Super Heavy, more characters from the character series. Then that's when they threw out the Primarch.
Yeah.
In the new book they list Dark Mechanicum as being in it. Couple of things like the Sword Brethren for the Imperial Fists, and a special character from the Imperial Fists who was, his big claim to fame was he messed Lucius up something fierce when they made him. His name starts with an S. Sigismund. Yeah,
Sigismund is the first captain of the Imperial Fist Legion, is the creator of the Black Templars chapter, because that's his personal heraldry.
Yep. Isn't he also, doesn't he become the first Emperor's champion?
He's like the biggest of big deals, aside from the Primarch in that entire Legion.
Uh-huh.
He is one of the, it's him, Sevatar, and Corswain, and not Raphael, but it might be, from the Blood Angels. It's Sigismund of the Imperial Fist, Corswain of the Dark Angels, Sevatar of the Night Lords, and I think it's Raphael, Raul Doran or something like that, of the Blood Angels, who are considered swordsmen without peer.
Mm-hmm.
is those 4. Those are considered like the best
Yes.
of all the legions, and Sigismund's among them. So he is the Black Templar's daddy. Like he's kind of a big deal.
In a Q&A session that they got here, they basically the rundown. There's new model. Let's see, Warhammer Forge range being recollaborated, new models coming mid next year. Dark Angels are still some ways off, which was expected.
Uh-huh.
The Thurman campaign is a really big deal, and it didn't really end until near the end.
Yep.
Sigismund model not started yet, will come eventually. Tau non-flying super heavies look to next year, which is interesting because I have kind of felt a little bad that all the Tau stuff are flyers. It's like, oh, they have really no super heavy Lords of War to compete with the ones that don't fly.
Yes, I would have liked to seen them actually have a Gundam, but
But at the same time, I'm like, does that kind of fit?
It doesn't. In all actuality, when you look with the fluff that's been developed for the Tau, as stated, they went with their heaviest stuff being aircraft because it's more efficient to move.
Yes.
And it's space worthy, so it doesn't need its own transport.
Yeah.
And everything the Tau did that way. Now, unless they're just making something like a pure land denial system, then that's okay. But if they're gonna make like a Titan, like a Tau Titan, as much as I'd love to see them have a Pacific Rim thing, I don't want them to.
It's very interesting. Like, after seeing why the Riptide was invented, I could be kind of... For me, it would be the fluff. If the fluff is a good enough justification, like the reason why the Riptide was invented, then it could be okay. But like I said, it really depends on what the thing actually does.
Yeah. All I have to say, though...
Yes?
In regards to stuff coming out,
yep.
Because like I want looks like the Ultramarines would be book 5, I think, or book 4.
Let's see. According to this, book 5 is Tempest Assault on Calawith. Book 5, Word Bearers and Ultramarines.
Yeah, basically. I mean, the Word Bearers are done, but this is like, but the Ultramarines is actually getting stuff done. Because every time, like, when you start seeing really ornate Ultramarines, they're some of the coolest looking models out there.
Yeah.
Like, when Ultramarines start putting their swag on, they start looking fancy. And I'm really interested in that. And the Solo Auxilia stuff, the Imperial Army stuff, looks really cool, where if I were to ever play Imperial Guard, I would just use those models. I mean, they look way better than any Cadians or anything like that. Like, they look like they can actually survive a fight. Which is, like, I guess, heresy for the Imperial Guard to look that way. But I've always been really curious and really looking forward to what the Ultramarines will get. Because the Ultramarines get a bad rap, in my opinion, by a lot of people. Because their specialty is being...
generic.
But I just don't know. The specialty is being adaptable, which is being generic. Like, like, and therefore people will go, I don't want to do them. But I like that about them. I just, I
understand the appeal behind them.
And also, when they go ornate, they go ornate. Like, those Honor Guard models with Marneus are some of the coolest looking models to this day, I still feel. Yeah.
Story is the Word Bearers in this will be starting to be the ones where they start painting themselves red and being more the Berserker dudes that we know and love.
Well, they're not so much Berserkers, they're fanatics.
Yeah.
Like, but
like the Karn Word, I'm sorry, I'm thinking World Eaters. Sorry, Word Bearers. Sorry.
But the Word Bearers do start painting themselves red. They started painting themselves red at Isfin, but now it's more Legion-wide.
Let's see, they're saying Calith will probably be at least 2 books, so it doesn't look like we'll see Prospero anytime soon. Xenos Horus Heresy, no plans, but maybe in the far future when get to the scoring.
Yeah, the Scouring.
The Scouring
is the point at which... the Horus Heresy is concluded. Now the Craters are retreating to the Eye of Terror, and we're hounding them back. And the Scouring is a time period in the Imperium when they're basically keeping themselves afloat, and basically the legions are still legions at this point, and they're beating back the enemies, the chaos, as well as fending off the Xenos that are trying to pick apart our corpse, basically.
Yeah. And then we've got Night Lords have a few new models coming. No plans for Dark Eldar. No decisions on Fantasy. and Chaos Knight conversion kits are planned.
Which would be expected.
Yes. And actually, here's a couple of pictures that you might like of the new Ultramarines that they've shown.
I've seen pictures, artwork of them I've seen.
Yep. And
yeah,
it looks interesting. I'm excited to see how this plays out. We also at Warhammer Fest we had a sneak peek of Imperial Armor 13, which seems to be giving all sorts of chaos love to chaos.
Right. Now, my not problem with it, my thought is this, or my concern is this.
Here's a link to the listing.
It doesn't look like what we've had with Imperial Armor before. In terms of, it looks like it's just, here's a bunch of chaos stuff. It doesn't look like it's a campaign. It looks like it's harking back to Imperial Armor 1 and 2, when it's just, here's a bunch of stuff, play with it.
Let's see. Some people are thinking there's a Rights of War listing in the back, but that's about it.
Right, but what I mean, like, for example, Fall of Orpheus was a whole big story about the fall of Orpheus to the Necrons. This was like, it's just, here's a bunch of data sheets, which is fine.
Yeah.
That's how Imperial Armor 1 and 2 were. But I was really hoping for, like, a story.
A story?
But, which is, we'll probably get in 14. Now that they, because my guess is this, now that they introduce a whole bunch of chaos stuff, 14's going to have a big chaos story.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
I am liking it because it looks, the only thing that it's a little saddening to me, but I'm not seeing anything specifically around it seems like they're only doing a couple of the Traitor Legions getting representations, which is like, oh, you know, this would be cool if I was playing, this would be really cool if I was playing Emperor's Children because of the Sonic Dreadnought and stuff. And, like, there's a couple of things here that I'm like, oh, this, like, the Infernal Relic Land Raider Achilles, which sounds really awesome, but then I'm like, oh, is this just like a Nurgle thing? Because this sounds like a Nurgle thing.
Well, we'd have to see what it looks like.
Yeah, I'd have to buy the book.
But a lot of it, another thing I'm concerned about, is a lot of it sounds like stuff, like they're centralizing all the chaos stuff, which is fine.
Yeah.
Again, not really
centralizing it and updating it and throwing in a few new things to kind of equivalent. Like a good example is like the Land Raider Achilles. That's an ancient vehicle. Why don't Chaos have it?
It is.
And now it goes, well, here it is, and this is how it changed.
It is ancient, but I'm also fine with the Chaos not having, because the explanation for certain things of why Chaos has none of it is machine spirit's super finicky, and they're not able to communicate properly with it.
Yeah, so like, it's understandable.
So I like it when Chaos doesn't have certain stuff and has their own stuff, just because it makes them a bit more unique. Yeah,
that is one thing. Like, I don't mind Chaos not having certain things, but it's just like, for me, it's like I'd just like to know why they don't have it.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing. It would be nice if they had stuff on their own. Like a good example, like here, like, I was kind of happy to see there's a Sonic Dreadnought, because I was sitting there going, wait, the Emperor's Children, who are big into noise and such, they didn't do anything with their dreads to make that cooler?
Yeah, that's true. No, I get what you're saying with that.
So I like the fact that they're making an a dreadnought fitted for the Legion, because then it makes more sense.
Yeah.
And like more things like the Brass Scorpion and more of that. A description of them diving into stuff we shouldn't be tapping into.
Well, that would be cool. So I agree with that. Now, unless you have more on the Chaos stuff, I want to switch gears a hot second.
Go right ahead.
So I've been playing, because I found apparently I didn't realize I had it here until I found it like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I have my Nintendo DS here. DS Lite.
Impressive.
And I was going through my drawers. I'm like, what are you doing here? Because I didn't. And where have you been all my life? But anyway, so I purchased, because it was I saw it for cheap, Chrono Trigger DS.
Chrono Trigger DS, okay.
And I've been playing it, and because I love Chrono Trigger, it's probably my favorite RPG, or as people like to be technical, JRPG, whatever. And I'm not that far into. I mean, I've made progress, but I'm not like super far into it yet because I'm really trying to do absolutely everything now. Now that I'm older and wiser and know how to do everything, so it got me thinking. It got me thinking on games back in the day when we were young, when we were wee lads,
when we were tiny boys.
Yeah, and we played video games. There was none of this achievement stuff or anything like that. Like there was the internet was in its pure infancy, so there wasn't like game facts galore or walkthroughs or anything like that. You had to basically buy the guide or figure it out yourself. And so we would 100% games that were fun. You know, it was just something that people would do over time because they enjoyed playing those games because they had. In my opinion, older games have more replay value than a lot of newer games. Some newer games have a great replay value, but overall, I find they don't in comparison. So you would play them over and over and over again. Before you knew it, you found everything you needed to find, especially when we had saving. Once saving got introduced to games, you could save your progress. You could go back and do a whole bunch of stuff in games that let you. So my question is twofold. What, if any, games have you 100%ed? And how much of a fan are you of achievements in games?
Me?
Yes.
It really depends. I'm kind of meh. I don't really go out of my way to unlock achievements unless they had some significance. Like unlocking, a new weapon is one thing, but just unlocking the ability to say I did this kind of doesn't appeal to me.
Right. And have you 100% in any games? Not new games.
I have 100%ed games before.
What?
The one that I can think of the most right now is Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
I did that one. Right now, I'm kind of trying to, at least in terms of unlocking all the items and such you can have, I'm trying to 100% Hyrule Warriors.
Okay. Cool.
And I did do it to Deus Ex. I tried to unlock all the achievements in Human Revolution.
Cool. I very rarely 100% a game because I don't know that there's stuff I'm missing 100% of the game half the time, like if it's not clearly obvious, and B, with a lot of new games with their achievements, I'm not gonna platinum a game, so therefore I'll never quote unquote 100% it in people's eyes, which is a whole other story. But I have 100%ed some games, and I've 100%ed so many different times. Mario 64.
That was another one that I tried to 100%.
I 100%ed that over and over and over again. That game, I've probably replayed the most out of any game.
Yeah.
Mario Kart 64, 100%ed. Not Double Dash, just cause, but Mario Kart 64, 100%ed. I'm going to try to 100% Chrono Trigger DS. I've beaten it before, Chrono Trigger period, not DS, but I just never 100% it. I just beaten it. So I'm going to try and do that. But when it comes to achievements for me, like you, if it's something that's going to unlock something and it's not crazy, ridiculously hard to do, I'll try it. My thing with achievements is, I feel them achievements or whatever they're called in Xbox, badges or whatever, not badges.
I think they're still counted as achievements.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah, you just get a badge.
All right. First off, me personally, I find it kind of odd. Like, what more incentive do you need to play a game? Back in my day, we didn't have achievements because we're just having fun playing the game. Like, do you really go oh man, some people are achievement hunters. They get the game to unlock all the achievements. I'm thinking, so if it didn't have achievements, you wouldn't get the game to play. You need incentive to play a game for fun, which is always weird in my mind. But also, I feel achievements kind of not break the game, but take you out of the game. Because you're getting immersed into the story, and then being achievement pops up, and they go, right, it's just, whatever, it's the game.
It's just the game.
But which is why I feel games should do this. Games should track your achievements and unlock them for you when you get them, but in your first playthrough of a save file, they shouldn't show you them till you beat the game. That way you don't get the immersion level isn't lost, because every time you bing something, you lose immersion.
Yeah.
So, like, still let you bing it and get it, but basically keep it hidden and it kind of forces a second playthrough if you're going to achievement hunt. You know, you play through the first time just so you can see what achievements you got and what are unlockable, but without breaking the immersion. But, like, I'm not a big achievement hunter, mostly because I'll never platinum a game, because it's usually... I've looked through achievements of games that I've played that I really enjoyed, that maybe I was thinking, you know what, let me try and get all the achievements, because I really like this game, I'm pretty good at it. And then I see some of the achievement stuff, and I'm like, that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Like, there's stuff like, you know, kill 300 men with a single bullet.
Yeah.
You're like, how?
Or it's like, complete this quest in 5 seconds. Excuse me? It's like, how? But, like...
Show me how you do it, and I will do it.
Right? I mean, when I originally played Counter-Strike, there were no achievements on it. Now Counter-Strike, whatever it's called, total title now that I have, it's got achievements in it, which is fine. But, like, I remember I played one game, and I threw in a grenade, a high-explosive grenade, and I took out 5 people because they're all bunched up together. That would have been an achievement worthy, I'm almost guaranteeing you, if there was an achievement.
Yep.
But, you know, stuff like that, especially if it's a multiplayer game where you're going to be playing it over and over again, sure, I'm not hunting it, but it'll happen, or I'll try to for fun. But if it gave me like a game like Infamous or let's just say Mario 64 if it had achievements, I'm not... Games like that where it's story driven but open world, I feel like achievement hunting, especially if it's your first playthrough, is counterproductive to enjoying the game. Because it's like, okay, I got story coming up, but let me backtrack. Now that I got this new item to unlock everything. It's like, I don't want to do that. But I tried 100%ing Ocarina of Time, but the Golden Skulltulas, I couldn't find all of them. Even the ones where I knew they were, I couldn't get...
the Skulltulas.
I never figured out how to get all of them. Like, I could find them or hear where they're at, but my ability of getting them was terrible, so I never did. But, I think achievements are cool, but as a bragging right thing, I don't really care about them. Personally, like, I don't know. I think it's more impressive watching people speedrun games than going like, oh, if you have like a documented thing, like I beat this game in an hour, let's say, right, which is a big deal. I find that cooler than somebody's like, yeah, I platinumed the game. Yeah, because you could just redo it.
You're just like, okay.
I especially hate it. Like, you played Darksiders 1?
Yes.
You remember when you get on the back of that griffin flying thing and you got to shoot, and you have like it's like a rail section where you're shooting everything?
Yes.
There's an achievement for like shooting X amount of things in that. Which, if you didn't know that when you're first playing through, now you got to replay the game if you saved over your progress of that zone. So if you want to get that achievement, and unless you're really good at that, it's going to take you a couple of tries. You got to save right beforehand, just reload that until you get it. I don't like stuff like that. Like,
that's kind of like why I like how Platinum Games does a lot of it. Once you've played through a mission, you can always go back and try and one-up your score without affecting your game progress.
Yeah.
Like with the Devil May Cry games, once you play the first 3 missions, you can go back to mission 1, and you don't have to play through 2 and 3 again. You can just skip back to 4.
That's cool. Like, Darksiders is another game where the first one where I just was like, let me try and platinum this game. I thought to myself, naively, and didn't even think that with 2. I'm like, not even gonna try it with 2. But like, one of the achievements, which isn't hard, is just max level all of your weapons. And I tried. I got like the fist and the sword max level. But after I got the fist max level, I'm like, this is ridiculous. The level of grinding I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I can't, like, just that level of like, hats off to people who actually achieve and hunt, but at the same time, why do you do that to yourself?
Yeah.
So
there's some crazy stuff out there that these games want you to do.
There is, and it makes me again think back to our times when we didn't really have achievements in there. Like, part of the thing, like with Chrono Trigger, I'll use that example because that's what I'm playing, and it's an older game from the 90s. It not only did it not have achievements, but it forced you to interact with your environment. And by that I mean, for example, I got to go back to 65 million BC. The first time you're supposed to go back to it. But to get to that point, to even know what I have to do, you have to talk. You don't have to, but if it's your first playthrough, you have to talk with the NPCs. You know, the NPCs nobody talks to in games these days because you have a mission objective and a radar screen to tell you where you got to go. You don't have any of that in Chrono Trigger. So you beat a boss, and you go, now what? Yeah. And if you don't know, you got to go talk to people in the inn, talk to people in their houses, talk to everybody. Just talk to everybody to get a clue. And there's that, and then there's no achievement. So I don't know what there is to beat the game. Like, for example, if you didn't know that you can get a doll thing of different characters in this one part in the fair, which you can get a very different character. Eventually, there's a point in the game where you can do it and get it for different characters, but you're supposed to get it for one specific character. If you don't know you can get it for everybody else, you'll miss it. And that's part of 100%ing a game, which would have been part of a achievement if there was one. So, like, you know, it's that stuff is just trial and error, but that's the thing I liked about playing that a game, and like I'm going, oh, I missed this. I missed having to interact with stuff. I missed having to be a part of the game, you know? Because a lot of games now, it's like, oh, congratulations, or good job, you defeated the evil whatever. All right, now we got to do this, and it tells you everything. You don't have to talk to anybody unless it's for a quest or a secret item. Yep. And like, but they code in all of these NPCs that are able to be interacted with for the purpose of enriching the storyline.
Well, I kind of like how one of the things that I kind of do enjoy is like some of those games, like even if they tell you what to do, they don't tell you how to get there. Yeah. So you still have to explore even though you know what you're doing because you need to figure out where it is you need to go.
Oh yeah, I mean like Chrono Trigger still tells you like you need to get the red stone and you need to do this, but it doesn't say go to 65 million BC. It says this stone has been around for a long, long time. Oh, okay.
And you have to put two and two together.
Exactly. And there's backtracking in the game, so I don't want people to think I don't like backtracking. I'm okay with backtracking in a game, but like because Chrono Trigger has the backtracking in it, but they did like it's the same team that did Final Fantasy, so you know it's got a good quality to it. This is the same people who did Final Fantasy VI.
I never played that.
Me either. I have a confession. I don't really care for the Final Fantasy series. I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. But in the gaming world, that's the equivalent of me saying to people in the movie world, "I don't care for The Godfather."
Yes.
They freak out. It's also the same in the scientific world when you go, Albert Einstein might not have gotten this right. What? And it's like
he was a genius,
right? Like you can't. There's certain things in every form of everything that if you say, you know what, maybe they were wrong or this isn't that good, it's like blasphemy. But
get out of here.
Exactly. But like 6 and Chrono Trigger have some similarities into their development and whatnot. But the backtracking is there, but they do it in a smooth way. It's games today can do backtracking very nicely, and then there's also backtracking where it's like, oh, I have to backtrack because, well, in the beginning of this game, there was this block I couldn't move, and now I can move it, but it has nothing really to do with any seamlessness. It's forced me to go back to the beginning area, you know?
Yeah.
I hate backtracking like that, especially when it's like, it's the only thing to backtrack for once you unlock a certain ability. And it's like, but it has no bearing on the game. It's like, why would I even go back there?
Yeah.
Why would I even try?
Why do I wanna?
But
it's my hot model. I'll do what I want.
Exactly. But I was just curious I'm curious on the Fearless Gamers' thoughts on their thoughts on achievements and what games they ever 100%ed because it's tough to be honest. Like 100%ing any game is tough. Even Mario Kart is tough because you have the backwards races and you got to get the goal and everything and do everything else and Super Mario 64. It's still tough because there are hidden stars you don't know about right away and things like that. But 100%ing games then and now is a tough thing.
Yes. Like I said, I find it's cool, but I never go out of my way to do it unless I'm like super driven or the achievements mean something.
Oh yeah, me either. And that's for any game. Like I like racing games, so I play Gran Turismo 6, and it has achievements. And as much as I like racing and stuff like that, I'm bad at it on a game because I don't have the steering wheel and the gas pedal, which makes it. I played with that,
Yeah.
So much better with that than it is with the controller. It really is, because it has the full range of motion and movement that you can do. Because the controller is very kind of like all or nothing, especially when you use A button to go. Because it's like, it doesn't really, you can't really vary a throttle with a button. But but that has achievements. Like, for example, it has an achievement for a certain racetrack to beat a certain time, which is the real-life world record time for that track. And I'm thinking, if that's a real-life world record set by a professional race car driver on that track, and while this is a game, how in the heck am I supposed to beat that and get an achievement for it?
You need to work.
But it's like and that's like just one example.
You must train. You must go to the hyperbolic time chamber and train.
But like, that's the problem with certain achievements. That's the one that sticks out in my mind. Is one of the ones going, you serious? You want me to go around this faster than professional? Sure.
Elena says you must train in 500 times Earth's normal gravity.
Oh, of course. That would help me push the buttons.
Yes.
The buttons might push themselves, though. We got to make a super strong button.
Yeah.
But it's just like, there's some games that it's like that, or it's like, beat the entire level with 2% health. Like, are you serious? I have a 2%...
Beat the level with a bullet.
Like, the ability to get down to 2% health and not just die. Because you can't be 3%, you got to be 2% health. So getting there, first off, is a trick. And then beating the entire level at 2% health is just like, are you joking? Because that means you have to avoid health ups.
Yep.
And you can't get hit. And it's like, no, this is a terrible idea. Who thought of this?
Everyone did.
But like, so if you look at any of my games I have to date, Steam or PS3, because that's the only two systems I do, nothing is 100%. Things are close, but nothing is 100%. When you look at it in terms of achievements, and even StarCraft, nothing's 100% because some of it involves get to diamond level in ranked multiplayer games. That's never going to happen. You want me to do good in multiplayer? No. I think you and I can both attest to never going to happen.
Yeah. And so we are now officially out of time in this timey time that time happened.
Wow.
So we are going to end it here, and we will leave you all with the question of, what is your take on achievements in games?
Yes, and what have you 100%ed?
Yes. Also, I did Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. I forgot I am 100% that game.
Nice. And if anybody 100% is Superman 64, what's wrong with you?
Yes, you, sir. You, sir, are either the greatest being around or the worst.
Not quite sure which it is yet.
Or as Frank said when I said I wasn't sure if him having the Infinity Gauntlet was the greatest thing that could happen in the world or humanity's darkest hour, it's first one, then rapidly the other.
It's true. And that's kind of Superman 64.
And so, with that, thank you all for listening, and until next time, Fearless Gamers, this is Matt the Vet.
James the Wildcard.
Saying take care.
Peace.